The Odyssey of Waves, the architecture and alchemy of color. What are the colors that paint our world truly made of? Is the brilliant red of an apple actually inside that apple? And most importantly, how did a 2-3-year-old man, locked in a dark room in the 17th century, manage to undress light to reveal the greatest secret of our visual universe? Let's open our eyes. Look at this apple, this sky, this forest. As painters, we must accept a truth that is the very foundation of our art. Color does not exist outside of us. It is not a property of matter, but a construct of the mind. It all begins with a star. The sun is our first master. It bombards us with a total white energy, a luminous silence that nonetheless contains all the music of the world. Color is a marriage, a three-step dance between this solar source, the physical obstacle of matter, and the master decoder, our brain. Without this initial spark, the universe is silent. To paint is to learn how to capture a fragment of the sun to freeze it on the canvas. The crucial experiment, Newton and the undressing of light. In 1666, a 2-3-year-old man named Isaac Newton is about to shatter a millennia-old certainty. Since Aristotle, humanity believed that white light was pure, and that colors were mere stains, colored shadows, born from light's collision with matter. Newton, secluded in the dark, pierces a tiny hole in his shutter. He places a glass prism in the path of this single, solitary ray, and the miracle happens. The pure light bursts into a vibrant fan of color. But Newton goes further with his experimentum crucis. He isolates a single blue ray and passes it through a second prism. The blue remains blue. The conclusion is revolutionary. The prism creates nothing. It strips light bare. It reveals that white is, in fact, a massive choir of frequencies. Light is a wave, and each color is the exact length of that wave. Red is a long, slow wave, 700 nanometers. Violet is a short, frantic wave, 400 nanometers. As they pass through the glass, each frequency bends at a different angle. This is refraction. Light is no longer a solid block. It is a musical score. The undressing of matter, the dance of electrons. But how does this invisible wave become the object beneath our brushes? To understand why grass is green, we must dive into the heart of the atom. Pigment is not a peaceful surface. It is an energetic battlefield. When a solar photon strikes matter, it crashes into a wall of electrons. If the photon's energy perfectly matches the atom's vibrational frequency, it is swallowed. This is absorption. Matter literally feeds on light. What it cannot consume, it spits back out, rejecting it. This is reflection. An apple is red because it has devoured all the blue and green of the spectrum to fuel its own atomic excitement. We paint with the leftovers, with the light that matter has refused. The sensor of the soul, an anatomy of perception. This rejected light travels toward us and enters the darkroom of our eye. It passes through the cornea, crosses the pupil, that flawless diaphragm. The iris adjusts against the sun's glare, and the lens projects it with surgical precision onto the retina. Here, we leave physics behind and enter the realm of neurobiology. The retina is not just a screen, it is a living extension of the brain. On its edges, the rods, the sentinels of the shadows, watch for the faintest photon, completely indifferent to color. They sculpt for us relief, movement, and the pure drama of black and white. But dead in the center, in the fovea, the cones awaken. We possess three types, three biological antennas tuned to red, green, and blue. This is where the magic of life operates. Color is never an isolated signal. It is an internal symphony where the brain calculates the differences in excitement between these three cones. If red and green sing together, we see yellow. Color is an electrical translation, a nervous poetry that brings meaning to the chaos of waves. The legacy of the circle, from antiquity to harmony. This desire to order the visual chaos is nothing new. In antiquity, color was deeply tied to the elements. Red to fire, blue to air. For thinkers like Pliny or Aristotle, colors were arranged in a simple straight line running from pristine white to absolute black. It would take Newton bending that straight line to invent the first color wheel. But the physicist's circle was pragmatic and lacked sensitivity. It was Goethe, in 1810, who injected humanity back into the theory, championing an emotional, symbolic, and psychological approach to color. This quest for structure would culminate at the Bauhaus school with Johannes Itten, who fused scientific rigor with artistic sensitivity to create the tool we hold in our hands today, our color wheel. Chromaticism and harmony, the limits of the visible. We must, however, remain humble. What we paint is only a tiny fraction of reality. On either side of our luminous octave, the universe continues to scream in colors we cannot see, infrared heat and ultraviolet. It is exactly like music, where sound stretches into infrasound and ultrasound. Our chromatic sense is a narrow window, a limit of our human condition. And yet, within this boundary, we sense a hidden geometry. While physics sees only wavelengths, the artist perceives a balance, where frequencies seem to converse in proportions reminiscent of the golden ratio. Close your eyes. Think of a piano string. Harmonics are born from exact mathematical proportions. Painting works the exact same way. The virtuoso painter doesn't rely on luck. They tune their optical instrument. The intervals between their colors respect the same sacred geometry that governs the growth of a flower as much as the infinite spiral of a pound. Galaxy. 7 contrasts. To master this magic, Johannes Itten left us a fabulous toolbox, a 7-ingredient recipe to make colors sing. These are the 7 fundamental contrasts. Listen closely. This is the secret of the great masters, the contrast of hue. This is the simplest, the most raw. Take pure, unmixed colors, a vivid red, an electric blue, a dazzling yellow, and place them side by side. It is joyful, it is explosive, it is the pure energy of childhood, the light-dark contrast. This is the great battle between light and shadow, between existence and absolute absence. Place a very light color next to a very dark one. Suddenly, as if by magic, your flat drawing gains volume. It is the supreme tool for sculpting light and hollowing out shadows, but also for expressing presence and absence. Visually, it is the skeleton, the very framework of your painting. The cold-warm contrast. This is by far the most vibrant, the most electric contrast. Feel the temperature of the colors, an incandescent fiery red next to a glacial blue. It masterfully translates the heat of a brilliant light against the coldness of a deep shadow. Furthermore, warm colors seem to advance toward us, while cool colors recede. It is the ultimate secret for expressing perspective and depth without a single mathematical calculation. The complementary contrast. This is a perfect love-hate relationship. Take 2 colors diametrically opposed on the color wheel, like red and green. Place them side by side. They illuminate each other, they scream their intensity, but mix them on your palette. And a miracle happens. They cancel each other out not to die, but to transform into a vibrant gray incredibly full of life. Thus, in the art of the great masters, the light of one naturally becomes the shadow of the other. The simultaneous contrast. Prepare yourself for a true optical illusion. Your eye despises imbalance. If you look at a dull gray square placed on a large bright red background, your brain will try to compensate by literally inventing green, overlaying it onto the gray. Your eye creates a color from scratch that doesn't even exist on the canvas. This is exactly why the painter must master this phenomenon to perfection, not to suffer these hallucinations, but to direct them. The contrast of saturation, quality. Imagine a sparkling diamond resting on old, dusty velvet. This is the brutal opposition between a pure color, 100% saturated with pigment, and a dull, grayed-out, broken color. It is the poetic clash between absolute brilliance and visual silence. The contrast of extension. Quantity. This is a question of proportion, exactly like in cooking. Not all colors possess the same visual weight. Yellow, for example, is naturally 3 times brighter than violet. Therefore, if you want your painting to be soothing and balanced, you will need only a tiny touch of yellow to compensate for an immense expanse of violet. This is the master key to color combinations and mixing. Epilogue. Touching the soul through the wave. And so we finish right where we started. Our job as artists is not merely to fill the gaps on a surface, but to make the soul of the observer vibrate. By taming these waves, by playing with the limits of our biology and the mathematics of the universe, we cease to be mere illustrators, to become visual conductors.